And good evening. Thank you for joining us for this panel on the value of Catholic higher education. We certainly have a lot in store for you this evening, and we are excited that you all have joined us. I am Michael Marshall, Vice President for Enrollment, Marketing, and Communication at Bellarmine University in Louisville, Kentucky. And I will pass it to my colleague, Tracy.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Tracy Mainier. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management at St. Edward's University in Austin, Texas. And I'm going to pass it over to Bree.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bree. I graduated from the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University in 2018. Excited to be here with you all.
And my name is Matthew Staley. I'm a current senior at St. Louis University in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm majoring in theology and communication with minors in Catholic studies and political science. And I'm so ecstatic for you all to be here right now.
And Tracy, go ahead and get started.
Mike's going to go ahead and share his screen to our presentation. And we're going to talk a little bit about the value of a Catholic college experience. But then really spend a good portion of our time talking with Matt and Bree about their own experiences so we can really see that come to life in the experiences that they had at their respective colleges. So Mike, I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Now, thank you for that, Tracy. And I have the good fortune of sharing kind of the benefits of why Catholic colleges. And I would share that I myself am a product of Catholic higher education for my undergraduate degree. And I would unequivocally state that if I could do it all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I just want to speak to, some of the assumptions that are associated with Catholic colleges that don't necessarily align with the realities of Catholic colleges. And just three quick assumptions that I would share is, oftentimes, students and families think that Catholic colleges may not be open or open-minded, may not be affordable, may not be diverse. And I just want to take some time sort of unpacking that and sort of demystifying that, if you will, or debunking that in a sense. And first off, Catholic higher education, Catholic colleges are mission-driven. And so what do I mean by that? Actually dedicated to educating the whole person, the mind, body, and spirit, and really preparing students to address many of the society's biggest challenge, such as poverty, food insecurity, injustices. And they do this through developing, a mission-aligned core curriculum, one that will help students to sharpen their critical thinking skills, to look through a social justice lens, to engage in collaboration, teamwork, problem solving, professionalism. And so all of this is really designed to prepare students for lifelong learning, not just about, focus on getting a job or career. And through that, through the Catholic intellectual tradition and the Catholic social teaching, it really is about teaching students how to think and not what to think. The other piece, and so, Catholic institutions are very much open-minded. The second piece, as I mentioned, not diverse. Well, I would share, the latest figures that I researched and came across was, if you look at the racial and ethnic diversity at Catholic colleges, more than 45% of students actually identify as students of color. And then also when you look at students and their own sort of religious or faith backgrounds come from many different faith traditions beyond just the Catholic faith tradition. And then many students come from many different socioeconomic backgrounds. And so it's really a community of scholars and learners preparing you to thrive in a global society. The third piece is the student success outcomes and alumni engagement. And with that, many of the Catholic colleges, in terms of the experience and the institutions themselves, experience high retention rates, high graduation rates, and high placement rates when students actually are transitioning beyond their undergraduate career. The graduates of Catholic institutions continue to give their time, treasure, and their talent to many of the institutions. In many cases, it's in the form of mentorship and guidance with the students. And all of that oftentimes comes through the residential experience that Catholic institutions provide And as I said, it's really building a community and a sense of belonging for each individual. And they can engage in extracurricular experiences, leadership development. So there really is a focus on bringing folks to campus and allowing them to grow and to develop. That spiritual development piece is something that's important, regardless of what the faith background is. Again, I'm a product of a Catholic institution from my undergrad. I am not Catholic, but it was one of those experiences where the spiritual development was important. It gave me the opportunity to find my understanding, my passion, my purpose, and this really helped. It really helps to become the best version of yourself. And then the last piece that I mentioned is the affordability piece. In Catholic institutions, oftentimes there's this perception that they're too expensive. And I would just share, Catholic institutions a couple of years ago had reported that 94% of students attending Catholic institutions, students receive financial aid, and the average package was $20,000. And so, as I mentioned, some of those assumptions of not being open or open-minded, not being affordable, not being diverse, just isn't the case, because Catholic colleges continue to be mission-driven institutions as they prepare students to be, engaged civically, socially, professionally, and spiritually. So I will turn it over to Tracy to share some more insight.
Thank you, Mike. I'm going to talk a little bit about how some of the values that Mike spoke of really have resonated across Catholic institutions throughout the country as we've all been living through the COVID pandemic. I just can speak from my own experience on my own campus at St. Edward's University. There are so many ways that students have felt sort of embraced and supported by a small campus, by a campus that lives a mission, that has a strong sense of community, that is really rooted in the value of caring for one another and respecting one another. And it's just been really such a experience to see that kind of playing out, really a very emotional experience to see that playing out across our campus. And I felt so fortunate, just even as an administrator and a staff member at a Catholic university where I've worked for over 20 years, to have that kind of community at a time in our lives when things seem so, so unnerving. And I think many of the things that Mike spoke about, it's just so important for students to feel grounded, to feel that there's hope in a bright future for them, and they have the mentorship and the tools to help build that, to be guided by a higher mission of values of integrity and community and support. And that has just been so necessary and so needed right now as our students work through the concerns about the pandemic, but also a lot of economic upheaval, a lot of political upheaval, certainly racial injustice, all of the things that our country is really working through during this time. And when we think about the challenges that young people face, there have been many studies on the high rates of mental health issues, for example, and to have a community around you that is grounded in love and support, and that really believes in your success and is really dedicated to your success, because it's connected fundamentally to the mission of being a Catholic institution. And that's just, there's just never been a more relevant time, I think, to be looking at a Catholic university that can provide that sort of community in a very uncertain time. So as all of you out there are looking at different schools and you're looking at different types of schools, obviously you've joined us tonight for the Catholic College Fair because you have an interest in learning more about Catholic colleges. And certainly as you kind of look towards your future next year or the year after, and as you think about the kinds of places you would want to be and you'd want to grow, that gives you a little bit of context for how relevant this experience really is now and really will be for your future as your generation works through all of these many challenges. So this is the fun part of the presentation. We have two wonderful guests here because they have been real students at Catholic colleges, and they can give us really great, interesting insights into what it's really like to be a student now. So I'm going to pose this question to both Matt and Bree. I want you to think back to your experience of applying to college. So you're sitting in the same seat that a lot of our viewers are tonight. What were you thinking about, and were you very directed to a Catholic institution, and how did you end up landing at a Catholic institution?
Yeah, I can start. So for me, a word that you said, Tracy, that actually I really stuck with during this time is community. And when I was applying to school, that was something I was really looking for, was a sense of community within this new place that I was about to be immersed in for 4 years. That was really important to me to have. So I think for me, that really shone through visits to colleges, which might be harder to do right now. But I think just talking with people and getting a sense of the community was very important to me. And that was something that I noticed in basically every single Catholic college I toured. Just the care that people have for each other was really evident, and the respect, and I just felt so welcome immediately. So that was something that really was important to me and what I really sought out for college.
Yeah, similar to exactly what Bree said, community. So back when I was in your shoes right now, looking at different colleges, I applied to about 6 or 7 different ones, mostly Catholic, but also a state school that my older siblings had gone to. And I actually came down between St. Louis University, a Catholic college, and a state school in Tennessee where I call home. And I was between these 2 colleges. And as many of you are, I was very nervous about affording it. But thanks to Mike, we have learned that they're incredible with scholarships and assisting those who need help. But I was looking for a Catholic college because I had had Catholic education growing up, and it has impacted me so much. And I knew that I wanted the same impact. And so when I visited the last time, both St. Louis University and the non-Catholic school I went to, exactly what Bree said, I could just feel the community in the air. You know, like Bree said, this is a place where you immerse yourself for 4 years. And so I know with myself that I wanted to go somewhere, not where I would go for 4 years and come out with a degree, but rather go somewhere for 4 years and call it a home forever. And so I think that's what each Catholic university offers in this country, is that sense of belonging, that sense of inclusivity. And that is exactly what I was looking for in your shoes right now. And that is exactly what I have found throughout my last 3.5 years at St. Louis University.
And so go ahead, Bree, go ahead.
I just wanted to say too, like, sense of community might sound really cheesy, but I promise it's real. And I promise, like, it's something you want and, like, will be excited about when you see it.
And the thing about the community, it allows you to find this sense of belonging and maybe step outside of your comfort zone, and it may create new opportunities. So in this case, and I'll pitch it to either one of you who want to take this question. What kinds of opportunities or doors opened up because you attended your current institution, which is, or not your current institution, but the Catholic institution that you may not have had otherwise?
I think for me, I graduated in 2018, and my 4 years at the College of St. Benedict really fostered this sense of community and social justice. And my 4 years there really, like, propelled me to want to do something more. And so I did a year of service actually with the Jesuit Volunteer Corps right afterwards. And I think if I had not had that experience I had at my Catholic college, I would not have been there, and I would not have chosen to do that after college and, like, continue to dedicate myself to, like, the social justice teaching and, like, advocating for just social justice and, like, looking for community. So I really do think those 4 years weren't just like, oh, 4 years, great, moving on to the rest of my life. It stays with you and it impacts you for the rest of your life.
I would agree with Bree. It really does impact you in ways that you never would have expected. You know, if you would have asked me 4 years ago, you know, if I would have expected to have all the opportunities that I've been given the last few years, I would have thought you were kidding. And something that I think is a great testament to the difference between a Catholic university and a non-Catholic university is I remember going home the first time, freshman year, my first year as a student here at SLU, and talking to my friends who chose to go to a non-Catholic university. I just was on fire with my community, with my teachers, my classes, my residence hall, as where they were just kind of going through the motions. They weren't excited to go back to school in January, as where I was ecstatic to. And so something beautiful about a Catholic university is that everyone wants to be there. No one is there just to go through the day-to-day motions, but rather everyone wants to be a part of something greater. And that's exactly what Catholic colleges offer through so many doors that they open, whether like it is social justice, like Bree said, or whether it's different opportunities with research opportunities, but also just the relationships that you form here has been the greatest door that's been open to me. Just getting to know people who care so much, not about, your future, but rather about everyone else's future around you. And it's truly made a difference, like Bree said, not just for 4 years, but for the rest of my life.
Thanks. How do you think the experience of being at a Catholic college and kind of immersing yourself in not just the academic life, but all the other things that you've done has kind of changed you as a person? I mean, or at least maybe how has it evolved who you are and who you want to be later?
For me, it has definitely challenged me in so many ways that I would not have expected. It has opened my eyes to so many different diverse backgrounds. And like Mike touched on earlier, yes, racial diversity, but also socioeconomic diversity, religious diversity, and so many different forms of cultural diversity. And so it's really challenged me in just looking beyond myself. And, a motto for Catholic universities, but also here at SLU, is being a person for and with others. And so not only, are you challenged to be for other people that you're not used to or not familiar with, but rather be in solidarity with them. And I think that's a great aspect of Catholic universities is that, like I've said before, you're not just here to just get a degree, but rather make an impact and be the difference that you want to be.
Yeah, that was really nicely said. I am thinking of another word that I think Matt was saying this was holistic. And that seems to have been at the forefront of my 4 years, just like beyond academics, caring about the person as a whole and how you can grow as an entire person in the many, many facets of your life, which are different for every single person. So like with extracurriculars and like growing in leadership or growing in your interests and like being exposed to different perspectives. And like Matt was saying, being challenged by that and that being a really good, beautiful thing. And like growing your own interests and growing these beautiful friendships and relationships with other people. People that maybe you wouldn't normally have like grown in relationship with. I think there are just so many aspects of Catholic colleges and universities that go so far beyond academics and just really care and like foster this person as a whole.
And thank you for that. And I also want to touch on, there's a lot of growth and development that takes place in the classroom, and we know that. But also there's a lot that takes place outside of the classroom, as I said, in the residence halls, in the student center, study away or study abroad. Can you speak to the importance of really engaging in the sort of co-curricular, extracurricular activities outside of the classroom and how that's sort of impacted you in your own college journey?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like a big part of the reason why we choose to go to college is that if you wanted to learn things, like you could do it, probably in the comfort of your home, and to like put yourself into a new place and be immersed in all these different experiences is crucial. And so for me, like just thinking about different things I was involved in, like I studied abroad in Ireland and had an Irish brother who taught us Irish theology in Ireland. Super cool. I would never have experienced that in Illinois, where I'm from. And I was part of like a group of young women. It was 5 of us that traveled together all 4 years and met every month with a sister who was like living on campus with us. And we would just talk about like deep life problems and questions and just be vulnerable and authentic with each other. And so I think those experiences like did really shape me and who I am, and like also like built my academic life, and that I was able to bring those experiences into the classroom and vice versa. Like they go in tandem together.
Yeah, I would completely agree with Bree. One of the most amazing things about a Catholic university is the education of the whole person, cura personalis. It is not just limited to you learning in the classroom, but rather going outside of that classroom and using the things you learn to go out into the world and be that difference. And so whether it's Bree studying abroad in Ireland or myself in Spain, we were able to use those things we used at our Catholic universities to literally spread it across the world. And it is not just that, but almost everything. Like Bree, I was thinking when you were talking about your involvements, how I was thinking about my own involvements and how at a Catholic university, you really give your all. Like a lot of people just will stay in their field, but at Catholic universities, they of course stay in their field with the obviously world-class education that a Catholic university offers, but also they get involved everywhere across campus. As for myself, I'm involved in a fraternity at SLU, but I also work as a tour guide, but I also am a big member in the Catholic Studies department. So like, it's just so cool that you're not just limited to one thing, but you have opportunities for that education of the whole person, both inside and outside the classroom, of mind, body, and spirit. And it has just been incredible to be able to do that at this Catholic university that I am. And so if you're interested in truly forming yourself, not just in the realm of what major or possible major you might be thinking of, but as a whole person, I would definitely recommend continuing to look at Catholic universities.
Let's talk a little bit about affordability. And you all have clearly articulated the value of the experience. Probably most of our viewers are really concerned about the cost of college, how they're going to pay for college, how they're going to apply for all the scholarships and financial aid and fill out all those forms, and it can seem really overwhelming. So what's some advice that you have for them about how to approach that? Again, you've clearly articulated the value of a Catholic education and how you're getting so much more for the experience. You're getting a much more holistic experience than you might get otherwise. But that sometimes will come as a cost. It certainly has a higher price tag. So let's talk a little bit about how Catholic universities kind of help make that affordable to students through financial aid, through merit scholarships.
My advice would be, I know it's extremely intimidating. I know I was incredibly scared being a senior in high school. I came from a family of 7 with a single mother, and I had to pay my own way. So I was definitely worried about financing my college career, but it's intimidating. I know it's difficult at times, but it's all going to be okay. And God will always provide. And so if you're meant to go to a certain university, God will make it happen. And so my ultimate advice is to just have faith in yourself, but also in God. And so, like they touched on earlier, the affordability seems a little daunting at first with the price tag of a Catholic university, but they don't factor in all the scholarships that you may receive, the financial aid that you may receive, other merit-based scholarships that might be through the university or outside the university you might receive. So just know that, yes, it's intimidating, but it's going to be okay, and God is going to place you exactly where you need to be. And a quick side note story. I remember my freshman year, like I said, I was very, very worried about financing college, but I remember at Mass one time, the priest was talking about financial struggles, and he said, go wherever you're called, regardless of the cost. And although it has been a little difficult at times managing my finances during my last 3.5 years at SLU, I would not change it for one single second, and I would even pay more to come here because the experience has just been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I expanding off that, I want to say to you all, like, the schools want you to come. They want you there. So, like, work with them. And there are so many resources there of people that want to help you figure it out. And like before coming into my freshman year, like Matt, I was also very worried because you see the big price tag and you're like, oh, how can I do this? And I like met with someone in the financial aid department, and they really like walked me through, as Tracy was mentioning, all the different like scholarships or financial aid awards or work study awards. Like I worked in college all 4 years. And yeah, you can make it work. You have people on your side, like use them. They're phenomenal people in like the financial department, and they want to help you like make things work. So definitely reach out to them.
All really good advice. And I just also want to add, you know, as Mike mentioned earlier, as Bree and Matt have alluded to, Catholic universities have very generous scholarship and financial aid programs. So really tap into that. And one way to do it is to use the net price calculator for the schools that you're really interested in. All universities are required to have some type of financial aid calculator on their website. Many of these schools will put it front and center on their admission pages or their financial aid pages so you can easily access it. And these calculators really allow you to enter some very simple and basic information about yourself, your academic profile, and it will give you a very quick and fairly accurate estimate of the kind of scholarship and financial aid package that you might receive at a given school. So that's a really quick and easy way just to get a very easy sense of what it might cost you before you have to actually wait for the real financial aid packages to arrive, which will come later this year if you're a senior. So while we're on the subject of scholarships, I'm going to ask Mike to share the screen again so we can take a look at some information that will be of interest to you. So as you probably know, this college fair tonight is sponsored by the National Catholic College Admission Association. And we're an organization of about 120 member Catholic colleges across the country who are represented by admission people at those colleges. And we really seek to promote Catholic higher education, but also to really help students, usher students through the college admission process, which is can sometimes be very daunting for families and confusing. And we're really there as kind of a resource. So we have a great website for the organization. On that website, you can peruse information about all of our member institutions. You can look at photographs and videos and just look at data for all the institutions and get links to their website. But a great feature that we offer as part of our organization is every year we distribute scholarships to students in the amount of $1,000 each. And the great thing about this scholarship is it's the easiest scholarship you'll ever apply for, and you have just the same chance of winning the scholarship as anybody else who applies for it. But what you should know is that because you're a participant in tonight's fair, you're going to automatically be entered into it's essentially like a drawing for the scholarship. So we have so many names that come to the scholarship, and we sort of pull the names out of a hat, and then we get to distribute these scholarships to students who end up enrolling at one of our member Catholic universities. So it's always a nice bonus to receive on top of whatever financial aid and scholarship award you've received from the college that you've decided to go to. But take a look at our website. It's a really good resource, again, if you want to learn more after this evening about Catholic colleges. And we're always very happy to work with you. You can always email our site and get answers to your questions there as well. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank especially my colleague, Mike Marshall from Bellarmine University, and also thank Matt from St. Louis University, and also Bree, who's an alumna of the College of St. Benedict. It was great having you all as panelists. I think I learned a lot, and I'm fueled by your energy and all of your great experiences. And then I also just want to say something to those of you in our audience. We've had a big group of people joining us tonight. I imagine that most of you are high school seniors right now, and you're really just right there in front of you is probably your application and all the things that your essay, all the things that you're working on right now. And it's such a strange and unusual year, and it's caused a lot of additional stress for everyone. So I really just want you to know, as an admission person at a Catholic college, that Catholic colleges are really right now are stepping up and showing a lot of compassion, a lot of flexibility to high school seniors that are applying. We want to make this process for you as seamless as it can be, and as productive as it can be for you. At the end of this process, we really want you to find the right place for you, where you can thrive and you can have as good of an experience as Matt and Bree had at their respective institutions. That is our goal for you. So I'll say to you, try not to stress about it. Know that we are all here at Resources as admission people across the country at all of these colleges. Please ask us for advice and ask for help. And also stay healthy and safe and take care of yourselves. It was great to have you with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you all. Take care. Okay, broadcast has ended.